back to the Slaying Self Doubt YouTube channel. Here is where we empower Black women to overcome their doubts, fears, and insecurities in order to walk into their God given purpose. How do we do that, you ask? Well, we create safe and brave spaces just like this for Black women to show up authentically as themselves. So join me and sometimes some of my friends or our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I am Coach Felicia, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Hey, Slayers, welcome back to another episode of Slaying Self Doubt Podcast. It's your girl, Coach Felicia. First of all, I want to welcome all of our YouTube people. Hey, y'all, hey. I see that you guys are watching. I see you are subscribing. If you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do it because you're missing out on seeing this face every week. Okay. Welcome all of our new slayers joining our movement, whether you're on YouTube or you're listening on the podcast, or you just started following me on social media, or you joined the Slayer Society, our Facebook group. Hey, y'all, hey. No matter how you found us, whether it was our way of a guest episode, solo episode, somebody shared an episode with you, I just am so grateful that you are here. So thank you so much. While you're listening to this episode or watching this episode, please, please, please share with at least 10 people. I like to tell you 20, but 20 if you feeling real good, okay? But if you can share with at least 10 people, we have a goal of reaching 100,000 downloads this year, and we are well on our way, okay? Because we just hit 64,000, and I just am in awe of what God is doing and what he has done with this podcast, and what he is going to do, okay? We are, remember, this is the year of doing, and so we out here doing it. It's some scary stuff that I have to do this week that I have been procrastinating on because self-doubt creeps in, y'all. I tell y'all, self-doubt is me, all right? And so self-doubt creeps in and it makes me just feel like, oh my gosh, like, should I be doing this? It looks like this is being taken care of. Like people are already doing this thing, or I've seen this done a certain type of way. And I have to remind myself, Felicia, if God is prompting you to do this, if He is saying I need you to make sure that you are in the room. I need you to make sure that you are on the platform. I need you to make sure that you are making the connection. I need you to be talking to that person. I need you to interview that person. I have to push past my fear, right? And just say, let's just see, right? Because on the other side of that fear is some type of result. And the result may be, yes, this is your opportunity, or it may be a lesson in what you may need to fix and what you may need to kind of change. And so I have all of these uncomfortable feelings because there have been times where I have done things before, and I was super excited about it, like, oh yes, okay, I can't wait. And then the feedback that I got was kind of like, or no, or whatever it is. And so sometimes it can be um uncomfortable, it can be discouraging. However, this is how we just continue to build. This is how we continue to slay self doubt because we're doing. And so, in your prayers this week, y'all, can you just pray for me? Pray that I do the work that I am supposed to be doing, and that I do not let this fear and this self doubt and insecurity and all of those things just keep me continue to make me procrastinate, because I'm going to do it. It's not a matter of if I'm going to do it, because I'm very clear that I'm going to do it. It's a matter of when. And I say this often. My pastor has said this: the key to obedience is speed. So the longer I take to do what it is that I need to do, whatever it is that God needs to be done in the earth will not get done because I'm taking too long. And again, this may be for you too. This is definitely my message today for myself, even in these announcements, that if my delay is causing someone else's delay. And so I am aware of it, I am clear, I know, but I need to put some goals on my calendar or something, so that I make sure that I do what I need to do in order to get the things done swiftly. Okay. So y'all already know that I dropped the e-guide, using the power of your voice. You guys, this guide is specifically for the people who know that God is asking you to start a podcast. He wants you to talk about something very specific. Maybe it is your business. Maybe it is a testimony that you have. Maybe it is just to give advice or share stories or connect with other people. I don't know what it may be, but what I do know is that you have to do your assignment. I just told you I need to do mine, but you have to do your assignment. And a part of my assignment was that I held on to something for so long that listen, it has this correlating, right? I held on to this information for like 2 years. And so now that I finally done it, I don't want you to delay like I did. So go to the website, www.slayingselfdoubt.com, and get the guide. Okay. I want y'all to make sure y'all listening to these guest episodes in this year for two reasons. One, when we came back from our February March break, they're all on video. So they are all on YouTube as well. So make sure that you go to our channel and you watch it. And then again, you're able to see what is happening and if you feel a little bit more connected. So, but on top of that, there are some dope guests that I have the privilege of interviewing this year, and I want y'all to make sure you don't miss out on that. So right into the episode. We have been talking this month about 4 tips to slay your self-doubt. And so the first one was surrendering to the journey, right? That is taking your hand off the wheel and really allowing God to guide you and really saying, I'm not going to try to take control. Is that is the part. Like the surrender to the journey is your part. Is saying like I'm really am going to let this thing pan out the way it's supposed to, or however it's going to be, right? And then the second, last week, we talked about loyalty to the process. And I spoke specifically about trust and how you have to have trust in God in order to be loyal to his process. And that the process, the steps to loyalty include consistency, reliability, and faith, right? And so today we are talking about action. You have to take action. And so, we always hear when people talk about taking action and doing the work. Okay. Again, it is the year doing. Y'all hear faith without works is dead, right? You can have the faith, you can have the belief, you can have the trust. But if you do not do the work, your work, not his work, but the stuff that you are in control of, the stuff that you are supposed to do, whatever is supposed to come to pass will not, because you're just standing there, right? Like it's almost like when you're trying to start your health journey, right? That is something very simple for all of us to understand. You try to start your health journey, like you can't lose the weight you wanted to. You're going to stay where you are if you do not do some work. Let me make it even simpler. Driving a car, you can sit in the car, you can put your seatbelt on. You can turn the music on. You can even start the car. Okay, you can do all of those things. But if you do not press the brake and put it into drive, you are just sitting there. You're not doing anything. You can imagine yourself driving down the street. You can imagine yourself reaching your destination. You can pray about where you're trying to go. But if you don't actually drive a car, you're not going anywhere. It's not going to happen. Like either somebody got to drive you or you got to drive yourself. Like you got to do some work in your part in order to get to the next destination. And so I wanted to talk about the works part because it sounds, we say it all the time, and it's easy. So I wanted to read the easy version because we're gonna always go to the Bible and what the Lord say. And so the easy version says, how we believe in God is also like that. If our faith does not lead us to do good things, then it is not worth anything. It is dead. Then you may say to them, go with God's peace. I pray that you will be warm. I pray that you will eat well. But if you do not give them what they need, that does not help them at all. Someone may say, you believe in God, but I do good things to help people. Then I would say, you cannot show me that you believe in God if you do not do good things. I do good things, and that shows I really believe in God. And so, in this part, when he's talking about what we're supposed to be doing, right, and having faith and really believe, like it's not just saying it and then being like, oh, that's just it, right? You have to do the thing, but also it's in how you're doing it, right? So this is why it's all tied in together, in that how you're doing it. If you're doing it with him, it has to be with him in mind, because anybody can be doing stuff, right? So let's go back to driving. Anybody could be driving. We see millions of people drive every day, but everybody ain't going to your destination. So just because you're behind the wheel and you're driving doesn't mean like you are you're doing the work, right? You could be driving and just driving in circles. You could be driving and some people just like, oh, I like to drive to just clear my mind, right? And there's no destination in sight. And so when we are talking about slaying ourselves down, it can't be like that. It can't be like, oh, I'll just figure it out along the way. No, you have to do the work. And so I'm going to break down what the work looks like. So the first thing is you need to make a list of some goals, right? And when we're talking about this, we're specifically talking about your assignment, what it is that God is calling you to do, and what the things that have been holding you back, right? So when we talk about taking action, you have to decide what is that action that you're going to take, right? And so let's just use the example of podcasting, right? So I knew God gave me this. He told me to do it. And I was like, whatever, right? I'm not really trying to do all of that. But in the midst of before me actually pressing publish, there was some things I had to do, right? I had to work through the stuff, right? So some of this is the surrender journey, the trusting and all things. Some of it was like getting all the stuff out of my head about, okay, like what was the thing that I was worried about? What was this? Then it was like, okay, what do I need to do to even start? How about let's start there. What do I need to do to even start? And the first thing really was, all right, girl, you need a mic. Okay, let me purchase a mic, right? Then it was, what platform am I going to use? How do I where does the podcast where does my voice even go, right? What software do I need? What those type of things, like the technical stuff. So I did my research on that. Then it was like, oh, what am I gonna talk about? Like, I don't know. Like, is there a plan for this or whatever have you? And at the time for me, like, I just was so overwhelmed with the anxiety and the insecurity that I was just like, I just need to go, right? And so what I did was, it's like I got the things, right? And then they just sat for months. And then I was like, okay, you need to do something. You need to make a decision and just go. And so I don't want it to take you as long as it took me. Okay. But I was like, record. That's all you need to do. So guess what? I took my laptop and my microphone and I walked to the basement and I recorded my first episode. And then I was like, whew, okay, girl, you did it. And then I left. And I didn't do nothing else. Then add 5 more months went by, and then I was like, okay, just try it again. I went in my closet and I recorded an episode, right? Then I was like, okay, you need to do something. Then I recorded another episode in my closet a couple of weeks later, right? And then I just kind of sat there and didn't do anything else. And then finally I said, okay, I need to do this, because at this point I had been telling everybody I was going to do it. I had already done just enough, right? I had recorded those 3 episodes. I didn't have an official plan in place, but I was like, you need to do something. So I made it my business to say, okay, what am I going to do within the next 2 weeks? Like, when do I want to press publish, right? And I didn't know, but I just looked at the calendar and picked the date, right? And I think it was might have been a Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try to do about this. Like, you see what I said? Try. Not that I was, but I'm trying to do about this thing. And so it was little stuff that I needed to do. First thing I needed to do was I was like, let me go and buy this hosting site. Like, all of it felt like a big deal, right? And so I remember coming downstairs and telling my husband, I was like, I did it. He was like, what? And I was like, I purchased the hosting site. And so he's like, so I can listen to it. And I was like, oh no, I didn't put the I didn't put the podcast on. I just purchased the site, right? And so then it was like, then the next day or like 2 days later, then I was like, okay, let me do all the like reaching out to all the platforms and stuff like that. And I didn't realize as I was doing it, like, okay, you kind of needed to do all of this stuff because of the platform that I used when I first started. It didn't auto do it for you. So it was like okay, it's kind of worked out. And then finally, I uploaded it. I still uploaded it and did nothing with it. Then I was like, oh, okay, it's uploaded. It's saving on there. And then I'm like, then I'm gonna press publish and I'm gonna just go. And on March 3rd, 2019, I just was like, okay, publish, close my eyes, and I'm gonna just do it. Right. And so now we're here. However, I basically did the same thing. I'm telling you the same thing, but I'm condensing it, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to make a goal. You need to list your goals. What is it that you need to do to make sure that this thing is done? In the case of that podcast, for me, what I needed to do is know when I was going to publish it. I needed to make sure that I had the equipment and software that I needed. I needed to make sure I actually recorded an episode, and I needed to make sure that it was going to distribute where it needed to distribute, right? That was the basics of it. Then in the very first thing I said, I need to know when I needed to do it, right? Instead of me like prolonging all these things, the next thing that you have to do is you need to set 30, 60, and 90-day goals. Why? Because if you've ever worked anywhere and you get a performance evaluation, they always want you to, or they give you SMART goals. And a part of your SMART goals is that you have to time it. You have to put some time on it in order for you to be able to see that you're making a difference, that you're actually working towards the end of the goal. And it has to be attainable, right? Like you can't be like, okay, I'm gonna publish a podcast in 3 years. Baby, 3 years, that's just too much time, right? Certain things may take, like you want to pay off your house, that may take 3 years, maybe even 5, right? Those are big things because you got to make, okay, how much these payments going to be, whatever have you. Like maybe getting out of debt is something that you're going to say in 3 years, I'm going to do this. But something as simple as starting a podcast, something as simple as starting your health journey, or deciding to parent in a different way, to go to counseling, to I don't know, I can't think of nothing in my brain, just learning how to cook, right? Those are things that are simple enough that you can just start, right? Like it doesn't have to be, if you're trying to learn how to cook, you don't have to cook no gourmet meal. Learn how to make breakfast. Can you boil an egg without, can you know how to make scrambled eggs, right? Can you make an over easy egg with the white not jiggling, right? Like there's certain things that you can do to still kind of go into, so you want to set these goals, right? And so the goal setting is meant to encourage you to make sure that you are moving in a forward direction, and those goals need to be realistic. They need to be something that you actually can do. And with that being said, you also need accountability. That's the third thing. You have to ask for accountability. I didn't ask for accountability, but I got it because I told enough people that were like, "So what we doing? What's going on with this podcast? Like, are we doing it?" Now, maybe I didn't tell them all the steps, and for me at that time, it was like they get on my nerves asking me about this. But I have learned through coaching and just growing that like I need to ask for accountability, and I need to ask the right person, and I need to be able to ask in the correct way. And so, asking for accountability looks like, hey, but I have this goal that I'm setting for myself, and I like, can you I like for you to be my accountability partner. Can you do that? Let the person say yes or no, right? Because everybody don't have the capacity to hold you accountable. Like they got their own stuff going on, right? So you want to ask first, right? If they say yes, you have to tell them what accountability looks like. Hey, listen, okay, so I set this goal to go to work out at least 4 days out the week for the next 30 days. That is my first goal. My first goal is to do that. Can you text me on Wednesday and ask me how my workouts are going? That's it. It don't have to be send me a picture, like something that and then you're going to say to that person, okay. And so when you send me that, my response is either going to be they're going great, whatever the positive is, or I'm going to tell you why I haven't been going. Then what I need you to do, depending on what type of person you are, you even need somebody to gather you, or you need somebody to talk you through it. Like, to talk you through it would be like, so what's going on? What's stopping you from meeting your goal? Like, what's happening? Or somebody be like, girl, didn't you say you was trying to lose this weight? Like, why you playing out here? I thought you was complaining about your knees. I thought you was complaining about your back. Like, what are we doing? Right. So you have to know what type of motivation you need. And for that's why I said you got to know the right person to ask you. Because if you ask somebody to hold you accountable and they just be like, you go to the gym this week, and then it's crickets after that, you it's not going to work for you, because or one, because you know that person is not really interested in your goal and they do not care, right? So you want to make sure whoever you're asking to be hold you accountable truly wants to hold you accountable, right? And so in the taking the action, it also needs to be some type of daily action on top of that, right? So whether it's learning, whether it's creating new habits. So say on your health journey, right? Like, okay, yeah, you want to work out every, you want to work out 4 days out the week, but what also do I need to do? This is a part of these goals. Like when you're setting these goals, I also need to be drinking water, right? If I want to start a podcast in 30 days, okay, maybe that's the goal. The goal is to start the podcast in 30 days, but what things do I need to be doing every day? Like, okay, have I figured out the software? Have I figured out who's the hosting site? Have I created accounts with all the platforms? How what do I want seasons, or do I want to just talk every day until I don't feel like? How long are the episodes going to be? Instead of you like sitting down and like cramming it all out, break it up over those days. Like, these are the things I need to figure this stuff out this today. I need to what am I do? I need a logo? Do I need to hire somebody to do something? Am I going to learn how to edit? Am I going to get a podcast manager? There's so many things. The thing is that we say, I'm gonna start a podcast and think that in 30 days the podcast just supposed to be here, and we don't realize all the steps that it needs to take. That 30, 60, 90 day goal doesn't have to goal setting doesn't have to be for everything, but the intention behind it is that in those, what do you need to do in those 30 days to reach that goal? Like, what does it need to be? You have to list those things out. And so you have to commit to taking action every single day. Something needs to be, you need to be doing something that's going to move you forward, even if it's watching a video about starting a podcast, or how to write your first book, or learning this new business, or, it could be as simple as if even, it doesn't have to be like business stuff. It could be stuff that's in your household. Like for me personally, I've shared on here before, even when we were doing the kind of finance series, that I really struggle with creating a budget, right? Don't ask me, it's my relationship with money. I feel like I should know, but I know that I don't know, right? I know it sounds crazy, but that's really what it was. I feel like I should know. I feel like I'm old enough. I'm 42 years old. I should know how to budget my money and do things in the right way. But clearly I don't. So because I don't know, I need to learn how to do it. But in order for me to learn how to do it, I have to take steps to learn how, right? So it's not just like, let me buy a budget planner. Child, I look at that joint and be like, it seems simple enough, but it don't be, that meme with the little kid like sitting there thinking and all the little things is going around. That's how I be like, okay, what's supposed to go here? So I'm not understanding. Am I supposed to write something down every single day? Like those type of things, right? But then also like understanding like how it all works, right? Like what is the goal behind it? Well, guess what I'm gonna have to do? I need to do my part in learning all of that stuff before I even start. If I want to create the budget, it may sound as simple as just write it down. If it not making sense to me, I'm just being honest. I get overwhelmed and I just like forget it. What's been working has been working thus far, so I'm gonna just keep the party going, right? But in this situation, like if I really want this for myself, then I have to do the work. So every day, maybe I need to listen to a podcast about budgeting and financing. Maybe I need to watch a YouTube video. Maybe I need to practice. Maybe I need to look at different budget templates and figure out what works for me, right? You can't just always give somebody something and then expect change. You can't always say to yourself, I'm believing God for this, and it's just going to happen. Are there some things that happens? Yes, but there's some stuff we have work to do. We have work that needs to be done. You can't just say God gave me this vision. He gave me this assignment. I want to change this in my life. I want this to be better, and then sit on your hands. You can't do that. That it nothing will come to fruition. Nothing will happen because what do we say? Faith without works is dead. If you're not doing the faith doesn't matter. You can believe all day, but what? And I think it's also taking accountability that there's some things that we are responsible for. And I'm sure you're wondering to yourself, like, what does got to do with slaying self doubt? Let me tell you what it has to do. What it has to do with is that this is starting. If you haven't done it before, this will be a part of your track record, right? This will be a part of running your track record to be able to say, I can learn how to do something. I am intelligent enough to be able to Google something, figure it out on my own, and create a new thing, right? I am consistent enough to be able to work out 4 days out the week. And the result of it is I lost 5 pounds, right? I'm consistent. I'm disciplined enough to drink water, 64 ounces of water every single day. Like that is your track record because later on, when something else tells you you can't, you now have this thing that you can say, well, nah, that's not true because clearly I created this goal list right here and I completed every action. And so that this right here, like the thing that's in the future that's telling me, oh no, you can't do that, whatever, it's a lie because I have proof that I did already. It may be for a different thing, but that means that I have the capability and the ability to be able to do it. And so the question for this episode is, what daily action can you start taking? Some of it is as simple as how you talk to yourself. It's as simple as that. Stop bullying yourself. Some of it is when you open your eyes, just saying thank you, God. I'm going to, you know what? When I wake up in the morning, instead of looking at my phone, instead of fussing or whatever, the first words that's going to be out of my mouth is thank you, God, for waking me up. Those little things that you can start doing can get you to the big thing, right? And so we have to start taking daily action in order to see change in our lives. Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. You've already tried it the way that you are doing it and it's not getting you the results. You got to do something different. We all have to do something different. So that's all I got for today, y'all. I hope that today was, helpful. I felt like the last 2 weeks it was getting you in your gut, but this is realistic, right? I want, like when I am sharing with y'all and when God gives me something to talk about, like it's also practicality in it as well because it can't be too far over your head because then it'd be like, that is just too much. Like, girl, I don't even understand why you talking to me because I can't get it, right? But the practicality of saying, you know what, I can do something different. I can sit down before I go to bed and write down 5 things I'm grateful for. You know what that builds? Your contentment and your graciousness and your gratitude. We all need to be building on something every single day. That is the goal. That is what we're supposed to be doing. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, go ahead and email me at info@slangselfdoubt.com. Y'all, I realize this is a side note that everything says slang self doubt except for my email and my website, but that has changed. Everything is slang self doubt now. So go to slangselfdoubt.com. That's the website. If you want to comment on this episode, email me at info@slangselfdoubt.com. As always, thank y'all for rocking with me. If you enjoy this podcast and you find it valuable, please consider making a donation by buying me a coffee. The link is on the website. It's in my show notes. It is in my Instagram bio. Your support will help me create new content. It'll help me reach new people and ultimately help me get a podcast studio. Like that is the goal, y'all. Slang self doubt to be all over. All right. Jesus in Therapy, as always, y'all. Take charge of your mental health and get 10% off your first month of therapy at BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/slang in order to get the 10% off. Make sure you subscribe to Slayer Nation newsletter. I'm still working on how we're doing this. Like, y'all bear with me. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I haven't sent out a email for April yet. It's coming. But I just need to I need to really sit down and gather what I'm going to do about this newsletter. Okay. Again, please share this episode with at least 10 people. We're trying to reach 100,000 downloads this year. Follow me on Instagram if you're not, at Slang Self Doubt. Until next week. See ya. As always, y'all, thank you for rocking with me. Again, if you enjoyed this podcast and you find it valuable, you enjoyed this channel and you find it valuable, please consider donating by buying me a coffee. Your support will help me to create new content, get an official podcast studio, and ultimately reach more people. That's what we need. We need more people on this movement. Okay. If you're not already signed up to the newsletter, go to my website, www.slangselfdoubt.com, and sign up for the Slayer Nation newsletter. That's where you'll get updates, where you'll get what's going on. You'll get the news first. You don't have to wait until I announce it or hear. Okay. And lastly, second to last, please make sure that you share this with at least 10 people. We are trying to reach 100,000 downloads this year, and every subscription, every share counts. So we need it. We need you to send it out to your peoples so they can help us hit our goal this year. Lastly, if you are not already following me on Instagram, you need to go on over there and follow me at Slaying Self Doubt. Until the next episode, see ya.